now transition from anti-heroes to anti-bullying. I'm sure most of you here have experienced bullying. I know I have. I believe that Kennedy's speech today will influence you greatly and make you view the world around us differently. Please give a hand for the amazing and inspiring Kennedy James.
Growing up, I've been bullied multiple times, whereas I'm guessing all of you guys have too. Am I right? And even if you haven't, you will one day, unless we can stop that. And, well, maybe not stop it, but we surely can lessen it. Now I'll show you a video that has always inspired me.
When I was a kid, I used to think that pork chops and karate chops were the same thing. I thought they were both pork chops. And because my grandmother thought it was cute, and because they were my favorite, she let me keep doing it. Not really a big deal. One day, before I realized fat kids are not designed to climb trees, I fell out of a tree and bruised the right side of my body. I didn't want to tell my grandmother about it because I was scared I'd get in trouble for playing somewhere I shouldn't have been. A few days later, the gym teacher noticed the bruise and I got sent to the principal's office. From there, I was sent to another small room with a really nice lady who asked me all kinds of questions about my life at home. I saw no reason to lie. As far as I was concerned, life was pretty good. I told her whenever I'm sad, my grandmother gives me karate chops. This led to a full-scale investigation, and I was removed from the house for 3 days. Until they finally decided to ask how I got the bruises. News of this silly little story quickly spread through the school and I earned my first nickname, Pork Chop. To this day, I hate pork chops. I'm not the only kid who grew up this way. Surrounded by people who used to say that rhyme about sticks and stones. As if broken bones hurt more than the names we got called, and we got called them all. So we grew up believing no one would ever fall in love with us. That we'd be lonely forever. That we'd never meet someone to make us feel like the sun was something they built for us in their tool shed. So broken heartstrings bled the blues as we tried to empty ourselves so we would feel nothing. Don't tell me that hurts less than a broken bone. That an ingrown life is something surgeons can cut away, but there's no way for it to metastasize, it does. She was 8 years old. Our first day of grade 3 when she got called ugly. We both got moved to the back of class so we would stop getting bombarded by spitballs. But the school halls were a battleground where we found ourselves outnumbered day after wretched day. We used to stay inside for recess because outside was worse. Outside, we'd have to rehearse running away and learn to stay still like statues, giving no clues that we were there in grade 5. They kept a sign at the front of her desk that read, "Beware of the dog." To this day, despite a loving husband, she doesn't think she's beautiful because of a birthmark that takes up a little less than half her face. Kids used to say she looks like a wrong answer that someone tried to erase but couldn't quite get the job done. And they'll never understand that she's raising 2 kids whose definition of beauty begins with the word mom. Because they see her heart before they see her skin. Because she's only ever always been amazing. He was a broken branch grafted onto a different family tree. Adopted. Not because his parents opted for a different destiny. He was 3 when it became a mixed drink of 1 part left alone and 2 parts tragedy. Started therapy in 8th grade, had a personality made up of tests and pills, lived like the uphills were mountains and the downhills were cliffs, 4/5 suicidal, a tidal wave of antidepressants, and an adolescence being called pauper. 1 part because of the pills, 99 parts because of the cruelty. He tried to kill himself in grade 10 when a kid who could still go home to mom and dad had the audacity to tell him, "Get over it." As if depression is something that can be remedied by any of the contents found in a first aid kit. To this day, he is a stick of TNT lit from both ends. Could describe to in detail the way the sky find an army of friends who all call him an inspiration, he remains a conversation piece between people who can't understand. Sometimes being drug-free has less to do with addiction and more to do with sanity. We weren't the only kids who grew up this way. To this day, kids are still being called names. The classics, Ray Stupid, Hey Spaz. Seems like every school has an arsenal of names getting updated every year. And if a kid breaks in a school and no one around chooses to hear, do they make a sound? Or they just background noise from a soundtrack stuck on repeat when people say things like kids can be cruel? Every school was a big top circus tent, and the pecking order went from acrobats to lion tamers, from clowns to carnies. All of these miles ahead of who we were freaks. Lobster-clawed boys and bearded ladies. Oddities juggling depression and loneliness, playing solitaire, spinning the bottle, trying to kiss the wounded parts of ourselves and heal. But at night, while the others slept, we kept walking the tightrope. It was practice, and yes, some of us fell. But I want to tell them that all of this is just debris. Left over when we finally decide to smash all the things we thought we used to be. And if you can't see anything beautiful about yourself, get a better mirror. Look a little closer. Stare a little longer. Because there's something inside you that made you keep trying despite everyone who told you to quit. You built a cast around your broken heart and finding yourself beside it. They were wrong. Because maybe you didn't belong to a group or a clique. Maybe they decided to pick you last for basketball or everything. Maybe you used to bring bruises and broken teeth to show and tell but never told. Because how can you hold your ground if everyone around you wants to bury you beneath it? You have to believe that they were wrong. They have to be wrong. Why else would we still be here? We grew up learning to cheer on the underdog because we see ourselves in them. We stem from a root planted in the belief that we are not what we were called. We are not abandoned cars stalled out and sitting empty on some highway. And if in some way we are, don't worry. We only got out to walk and get gas. We are graduating members from the class of we made it. Not the faded echoes of voices crying out names will never hurt me. Of course, they did. But our lives will only ever always continue to be a balancing act that has less to do with pain and more to do with beauty.
Raise your hand if that video really spoke to you. I try to show this video to everyone at any chance that I get because I believe that one of the problems with bullying is that people don't really know what it is. They may think that if someone pushes you down or calls you a mean name, that is considered bullying. But the definition of bullying is abuse and mistreatment of someone vulnerable by someone stronger, more powerful, etc. The actions and behavior of a bully. Also, there are multiple types of bullying. Here are just a few. When I think of bullying, the first two that come to my mind are physical, which is like beating someone up or constantly like pushing their stuff down, and social, gossiping and talking about people behind their backs. Girls are often put into the social type of bullying, and boys are often put into the category of physical bullying. But again, it is misconcepted that actually both sexes can be capable of both types of bullying. Another thing is that some people think that maybe you can only get bullied when you're a kid or when you're in middle school and high school. But everyday adults, from your teachers, your guardians, your parents, or even the local cashier at your market, could be being bullied. When I was in 4th and 5th grade, I joined my school's Peace Patrol Club. We wore these bright yellow jackets, or vests that you can see in that top right corner, that had in big bold letters Peace Patrol. And myself and one or two other students would go to the recess of a younger grade than us, and we would walk around with like clipboards, like you see those girls over there, and We just make sure everyone was following rules, like not running on the blacktop, not climbing up the slides, and that everyone was just being nice to each other. Then if someone was being rude, we would take them aside and just follow like these steps. And at the end of the week, the club would meet up with our counselor, and we would discuss what we had seen. And if anything had gotten too serious or to the point where it could be classified as bullying, then the counselor would take it into further hands. But from an even younger age of 7 or 8, when I was in 2nd grade, and when I had first heard of the word of bullying and heard what bullying was, I immediately became passionate about it. I had this exact whiteboard in my room, and I would write these like types of things like bullying's bad, I hate bullying, and stuff like that. And this first day, when I had heard of bullying, when I got home, I went onto YouTube. And I had searched up bullying. I expected to find a video with lots of cartoons, clip art, multiple colors, puppets, and like things like this, talking about anti-bullying, how bullying is bad. And I clicked on the first video that I had seen, which is titled "A High School Bullying Story." It showed this girl being bullied and how these 2 other girls were pushing her down and knocking over her books every day. They would laugh at her. It would show them like whispering, gossiping about her, all that kind of stuff. And then it showed the girl, one day she went up into her treehouse, and everyone was trying to get her to come down. Her parents, and I think even like the fire department went there, and they're all trying to get her to come down from her treehouse, but she refused to. So she stayed in there for a total of 3 days, and on the 3rd day, the girl got out her camera, and she recorded herself talking about how she could not take how the girls were treating her anymore, and she could not handle it, and she was done with it. And then the girl had killed herself. That same 3rd day, her mom walked in and found the video still recording and her daughter's dead body on the floor. This brought me to instant tears and horror, and I ran immediately to my mother, who comforted me. This is my first time hearing the word suicide, or what suicide was. Suicide is heartbreaking. For someone to willingly take their own life is so sad and so awful, and it's a very serious topic also. Suicide is the 3rd most leading cause death among young people, and with each death there's an additional 100 attempts. Also, what I find shocking is that the common age range of suicide is 10 to 14. Some of you, that might be your age, your siblings, your cousin, or even the age of your children. And 160,000 kids stay home each day from fear of bullying. Do any of you remember wanting to stay home from fear of bullying? I know I do. What I had came to conclusion doing this talk and throughout this experience and all this, that we need to try to be more open, more loving, and more caring. I read online that people are afraid to talk about their experience with bullying, or that they are being bullied. But if we try to have these characteristics of being more open, loving, and caring with each other, then these topics that need to be talked about will be talked about. But also, last year, I learned that and realized that everyone is a bully, or everyone has been a bully. And you may be quick to jump and say that, no, that's like not even possible, or just to like defend yourself, but it's true. If you are like gossiping about someone, like even if it was someone that has bullied you or is a bully or anything like that, it's still considered bullying. And when I was looking for my pictures for the slideshow, I came across this picture, and it really upset me because even though you may find these characteristics inside a bully or someone that has bullied you, it's still like really sad. But ending this talk, I wanted to end it on a happy note and share with you a project that my friend Brody and I are working on. We are trying to create an anti-bullying awareness or link/leadership group at our school. This will have trained counselors in the club, and this will give a chance for students that need to talk about things to come talk about it, and where students that want to share their leadership skills can come and do that and really shine on campus. It will be a place where everyone will be safe and where everyone can feel happy. So I hope you go out the speech learning from it, realizing your past, and examining your future with cautious steps and careful words. Thank you. For my community service project, the TED Ed group and I formed an anti-bullying assembly for the middle school grades at our school, where myself and 2 guest speakers shared the effects of bullying.